Hello there, Aquarius. What a month December is going to be for a financial momentum glow up, as well as the possibility of foreign travel and a deep sense of moving into inspired, enthusiastic fruition and fruitfulness as you get in touch with your muse, feel alive and vitalized, and rediscover what brings you deep joy. So let's get started. If you're new to my channel, my name is Lori Lothian, and I am using Western tropical zodiac. I'm using whole sign houses. I'm a Hellenistic traditional astrologer. I often laugh when people say, are you using Vedic astrology? Well, if you know your sky, you know I'm not using Vedic astrology because I'm talking about, say, Jupiter in, Aries, and, he's going to be in Pisces in Vedic. So it makes me laugh. But anyway, no more complaining. I'm an Aquarius just like you. Let's talk about the sky this year ahead. And don't forget, if you are new, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications because you will help me grow my channel, which keeps me doing this kind of stuff. So if you like it, please like it. Literally punch that button. Okay, so let's get rolling and talk about what's happening here. I'm trying to get my mic at a comfortable position. I apologize. Well, first of all, Jupiter. Let's talk Jupiter, big, broad brushstroke stories. Then we're going to move into the granular. Back in October 30th, October 28th, Jupiter moved retrograde into the house of our money, our earnings, our finances, and our possessions. It's a very auspicious place. He will go into direct motion, though, after retrograding into the last 2 degrees of our second house of earnings in Pisces. He will go into direct motion on the 23rd. He did go into direct motion on the 23rd of November and is fully moving forward, unimpeded, in direct motion all through December to the 20th. So those 3 weeks are really luscious for our finances as Jupiter is moving forward over that 29th, 8th, and 29th degree. This is a place that he was already at in April of 2022 into the first week of May. Go back and think about the middle of April to the end of the first week of May, things that you were up to in your creativity, in your money stories, in your how you generate income and revenue, how you could accrue possessions, how you can expand your resourcefulness and resources financially were in play. And now this is another chance to do this again it won't be back for 12 years, guys. And, back in 2021, he was also here May, June, July. So there's little intro times that he's been in our money house, but this is our last chance for financial flush energy. He does bring financial luck. So we could have some lucky breaks money-wise as he is here, especially with a full moon in the house of speculation, lotteries, and money luck coming up on December the 7th, sort of saying fullness, completion, fruition of something that was a new moon on the very last day of May 2021. Therefore, into the first 2 weeks of June 2022, where did you feel lucky, especially financially, then, because it's coming back December 7th at 2 weeks. Now, the full moon is about fruition and fullness, harvest and completion. So it can bring a bounty, a fullness on December 7th. And don't forget, we're talking about that because Jupiter in the money house is in a whole sign flowing relationship called a trine. Called a square, but it's Jupiter energy moving toward the 5th house. So sort of sparking like tinder, something to do with money or romance. So we're going to talk about romance in a minute. I just want to finish up with Jupiter here in your second. It's like the rain barrel, a metaphor. It's raining. You want to catch the water while it's raining. You want to save that rainwater for a rainy day. So cautionary note, Jupiter likes to spend. When he's in the second house, he's very generous. He gives money away. He buys things for people. And nothing wrong with that. But remember, this is your time to fill the rain barrel financially. So don't spend all the money. Save some of the money. I say as an Aquarius rising, I know this story too well. And that's about it. If you are wanting to find luck, by taking a chance on a game or a lottery or speculation, I would say that the December 7th full moon is auspicious in the 2 weeks that follow for some kind of harvest. You know what I mean? Like the windfall, catching the harvest of the fullness of the full moon. Let's talk a little bit about the romance story. Mars is retrograding right now in your house of romantic love, but Mars has been in this house for a while, August the 20th, and he'll be there until next March. And this can definitely mean that passion and romance and exciting new directions in romance, and also new directions in your relationship to your children, like cutting away from them or something, or they're cutting away from you, are possible. But the retrogradation is about what lingering or older romantic partners from the past or romance narratives are being addressed from your past. It could even just be you going back over old ground in your mind about what you've got under in love and what you don't want in love and mistakes you've made in love and those sorts of themes. Now, Mars has been retrograding since October 30th and will continue until January 12th. So a cautionary note about romance when Mars is retrograde in the month of December. The only thing I'd be watchful for is going back into old patterns or starting something that's really already behind you, or prolonging a relationship, a romantic relationship that's really truly already behind you. On that December 7th new moon, it is conjunct Mars, right on top of Mars at 16 degrees of the 5th house. If you are an Aquarius sun, moon, or rising, and you have your sun, moon, or rising at the 16th degree, this is a flowing trine of a beautiful full moon, but it is conjunct Mars. And this could also imply, since Mars is squaring Mars is, what is Mars doing? I had like my notes and now I'm like, I forgot what Mars is doing in that moon. Yeah, he's squaring Juno, the full moon. Oh my goodness, it's very intense. Okay, so one of the problems going on here, or one of the challenges, is that Juno is about partnership, both love and financial. She's moving through Pisces in your money house. And this new moon is Mars cut and sever square Juno. It can be cutting away from a business partnership or romantic partnership because it's not good for your finances, or it's not, supporting you financially or something like that. For some of you, you guys might find yourself snipping a cord in a relationship. December 7th full moon, add 2 weeks, and maybe a pretty sharp sword at that. Slice. Okay, moving forward. When Venus and Mercury go into Capricorn, it's always the same time of year. It's during the Capricorn season. And this time they're trailing in there ahead of the sun on December 6th and the 10th. And then the sun will join them on the 21st. And Pluto's been in Capricorn for a dog's age. Well, this always creates a stellium, or a multiple pileup of planetary bodies in your 12th house. I bet you, if you think about how Decembers usually feel for you, you're going to say that the time of solitude, introspection, reflection, looking at yourself undoing and bad habits, paring away, the recondo of your soul. It's a very spiritual time. At the same time, you also often, I bet, Aquarius rising especially, have traveled to foreign lands, because that's another meaning of the 12th house during the months of December. And I can definitely attest to that. It's always been one of my favorite travel months, and I usually go before Christmas. And so for a lot of us, there could be an opportunity to plan or take a trip during the month of December, as we tend to do this on a more regular basis than not. But I want to mention something about this Venus-Mars-Mercury combination here. Venus is about what gives us pleasure in life. And 12th house can be addictions and self-undoing. And every time we go through a December transit here, we're probably looking at overdoing it. Too much smoking, too much vaping, too much weed, too much wine, too much everything. And, you might want to look at it this year with an eye to the fact that Venus and Mercury in this part of the sky are giving you a yearly update on how you're doing with your self-undoing overindulgences. And you could take a conscious stand, because Pluto will only be here joining in the fray, to go deeper than the surface of, but the wine tastes good, or when I vape, I feel super chill, and ask yourself, why are you doing this? Where are you going with this? Why are you escaping from something? I'm just not to your therapist, because I'm one of you, but I'm just asking, because this is your yearly testing 1, 2, 1, 2 about the overindulgence factor in your sky. It's funny that bed pleasures is the 12th house in the ancient world. Venus here every December could open up the doors to romantic bed pleasures as well. There's something cool happening this month, and that is that Ceres, the goddess of the grain harvest, cutting the wheat. Her symbol looks like a scythe. Often where she goes, we cut things away, just like we harvest something, but also it can be a place of fruitfulness and fruition and abundance and nourishment. She is moving into Libra, where she hasn't been, by the way, since 2000 and September, October, November of 2018. And she'll be there for quite a while, by the way, till next September 23 with a, back and forth at retrograde thing. But she gets here on December 18th, and she's going to enter into our ninth house, your ninth house, my ninth house of foreign lands and travel, where she'll be till March 22nd. No doubt about it. There's going to be a trip for some of us, Aquarius risings, to a foreign shore or a foreign land that is going to be a part of that passage of this abundance and harvest and fullness and grain and goodness goddess up there. It may be planned in December. You may take it in December. Who knows? She only gets to the first 6 degrees of Libra during the 3 months she's there. So if your sun, moon, and rising is in the first 5 degrees of Aquarius, you're the ones most likely to actually travel. Whereas June 21st to September 15th, that's where the rest of the Aquarius degrees throughout the sign of Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising will be taking trips, let's say, most likely anyway. I have a trip to Scotland planned in June. See what I mean? It's already showing up because I have a 16-degree Aquarius rising. Okay, so I want to go through a little bit of chronology with you and see what we can get out of the chronology version of it. I just want to remind you that Jupiter on December 20th goes into your third house of short trips and travel, siblings, skills-based learning and education, online world. Third house matters. Quite often, you got a taste of Jupiter here, but he never got past the 8th degree. So now he's going to go sailing all the way through to the middle of May through your third house. So you may be feeling some stuff going on in the last week of December to do with travel and trips and siblings and aunts, uncles, and cousins and local neighborhood things and childhood friends, all kind of in the fray, and Jupiter expanding that in the last 10 days while he is starting to move forward back in Aries. Now, micronutia stories, including the coming of new moon in Capricorn on the 23rd of the month. Small details, we have the beginning, the first 5 days of December, a bit of action with Mercury squaring Neptune, and then shortly after, Venus opposing Mars while sextiling Saturn. Now, the Mercury-Neptune thing is, kind of a dispelling of confusion and mental alertness or clarity coming out of something that was mentally confusing or foggy or challenging for you to understand. And so the way it looks in your sky is that with Neptune in your house of money and earnings, and he's been there since the end of 2011, it's been like a place of confusion. Suddenly Mercury wants to cut through from Sagittarius. Remember, he's in Sag until the 6th of the month of December. And from Sagittarius, he's working on truth bombs. He's working on, taking aim in Sag to cut through some kind of financial confusion with regards to your money and your social stature, your groups of belonging, your long-term plans and goals and dreams for your finances, things like that. But then Venus will also then shortly after oppose Mars. Now, Venus opposing Mars is like very hot to trot for romance. If you get into a relationship during that aspect, holy man, it's going to be sizzling and very tempestuous and fiery and exciting. So keep that in mind. It's like not often lasting though, but it is exciting. So Venus will oppose Mars. And if you're a single Aquarius, Mars in the house of romance, retrograde, could be getting back with an old lover. Venus is in the house of friends and allies. It could be that you meet in a social group, a friend introduces you, you go out to a party, you go to events, and suddenly you're, having this massive attraction to somebody else. Also, Mars is trying to take action, but he's retrograde. So a lot of the action is interior. Some of this can be your creativity, your inspiration, your muse, your art, something you're writing even in Gemini, and you're going to go back over old ground. And then there's this tension in the sky, in that first week, December 1st to 5th, with that opposition to Venus. Could be like you want to go out and have fun and play, but you're too busy digging in to revise or redo or redirect some kind of creative project. I do think that with the sextile from Venus to Saturn, though, if you do start a love relationship that's hot and hot and bothered, it could have some legs to stand on, because Saturn in the house of you, us, Aquarius, is like only about legacy, only about lasting, realistic, sober-minded decisions and actions with that Mars trine. And so for some of us, whole sign trine, this Venus sextile Saturn could mean an enduring love, a lasting love, a realistic love. But boy, is it passionate. But I think with the retrograde Mars, some of us would look for somebody from the past returning. Okay. Next, on December 8th and 9th, the sun will oppose Mars. The sun will oppose Mars. This is conflict with somebody in authority. Somebody is giving you a hard time. Yeah, Mars is retrograde. You might have had this conflict with this person before. This could be somebody in your social network, somebody in your friendship group, sun in the 11th, somebody in a place of power in an employment structure. And there's this conflict. Now, your children are in the 5th house if you have any, and this could be just a conflict with your child and or some gnarly situation about or with a child. But this sun part of it is often in the 11th house, just like in the 10th, somebody in a big authority position, somebody with some kind of leverage. And there could be a creative conflict, could be a conflict around leisure travel and agendas of a greater group, and some leader of a group wanting you to do one thing, but you want to go home and do your pottery, or you want to take a trip somewhere for fun. So there's this conflict in the sky. No, who knows what it is, December 12th to the 15th. And because the sun at the same time is squaring Neptune, some of this conflict will hit you in the pocketbook, or you'll feel like it's connected to your money story in some way. It could be pinchy in the money as well, this conflict energy that's ongoing here. And on December 17th and 18th, Mercury will trine Uranus. And then later on the 21st and 22nd, Venus will do the same thing afterward. So this is a 1-2 punch of some unexpected, exciting, and exhilarating energy, that you weren't necessarily planning on, to do with your home, real estate, property, your home life, where you live, land, all of these things. That's where Uranus is. And we've been through it, right? Aquarius, the nomad transit, since Uranus entered there in 2018. And a lot of us have been moved all around by the eclipses as well, exacerbating the Uranus transit. I think we're all going to know where we're going to live forever and ever after the end of next summer. So one of the things I would say to you is that because you've already been destabilized, you're kind of rolling with it. Like nothing really bothers you anymore, right? Like we're just rolling with the destabilization program. So the trine energy is positive. It's kind of like, okay, what kind of surprising, exciting, good news could be happening to do with foreign lands, foreign shores, backroom deals and negotiations, payments process or Stripe? I could even activate inheritance and monies or tax rebates from the 8th. There's some kind of like potential money travel, backroom deals and negotiations, surprise coming through the sky that could very much help you regarding things to do with your home and your home life. I mean, it could be anything. It could be that someone says, I'm going to give you my place in like Mexico for a month. Do you want it? And you're like, yay, me. I'm going to go to Mexico for free and stay in someone's house for a month. Just making it up. But you get the vibe, right? Especially with Venus participating, friendliness, friends, people who are friendly to you. Mercury is about the news, really, the emails, the phone calls, the thing that comes slicing through all of the sudden. And because both the houses 12 and 4, where this is happening, are spiritual liberation houses called moksha. Some of this could be a dream that like totally zaps you. Mercury is a dream messenger. Whoa, like the big dream. I had the big dream. I know the meaning of life. I'm one with the universe. And then Venus is there to like make it even more sweet. And then it connects to the hearth and the home, and it connects to your ancestral line and your mother and your the innocence of your childhood, and everything just gels. And all of a sudden you're a saint. That's always possible. I think that with Venus also, we can expect it to also look like women are in a part of the story. So some of this news is coming through females that could be exciting and track with where we live. The sun will square Jupiter on December 21st and 22nd. That's the same time Venus is trining Uranus. Well, I mean, with the sun squaring Jupiter, there is that conflict energy with someone in authority, a solar figure, and it's in a money house again. I mean, it could be anything. It could be a boss who doesn't want you to do something and you want to do it. It's a thwarted pay raise. It's something to do with a desire to receive a favor from someone in power, and yet they're not forthcoming with it, and it impacts your pocketbook. You may be making a big ask, like for a raise or a favor, or something on that line, and it's just not coming through the way you want. Just a possibility. I mean, so many ways it can play out. So I can't really just pick one. Moving into the future, I'm going to finish up with the moon and the Christmas season goodies. There is a Capricorn 1 degree new moon. We have a new moon in Capricorn, of course, every winter season. This one is conjunct to the asteroid Hygeia, the goddess of healing and mind, body, spirit. This is a profound spiritual energy because it's happening in the house of your soul and your past lives and your karma and the deep dive into your own personal unconscious and even the collective unconscious. So you could find that this new beginning with Hygeia is a deep, profound healing of some sort for many Aquarians of something that Pluto's been trying to heal in us since 2008 when he's began moving through our 12th house. Spiritual awakenings, yes, but here Hygeia, softer, feminine healing touch could be some miracle healings, beautiful healings around addiction, self-undoing, and self-sabotaging patterns of behavior and thought. Certainly going to a foreign land and meeting and seeing and finding a healer, it could be a possibility because it's a new moon, a new beginning. Some of the full fruit of this will show up 6 months later during the time in which the full moon will happen in Cancer in the summertime. Lastly, we're going to finish up this Christmas season with this Mercury sextile Neptune, dreamy, intuitive, psychic vibe. December 24th and 26th, Mercury in your deep dive dreams at night house, sextiling the god of channeling and angels and ascended masters in the house of speech. Yeah, for some of you, your channeling ascended masters and angels are talking to you. It could be very good for your money because Mercury is mercantile. This is the house of barter and trade from foreign lands, especially PayPal, Stripe, sextiling Jupiter. Definitely Neptune, near Jupiter. Well, Jupiter's moved on, but was there. It could be some good, dreamy, positive money story that feels quite spacious and loving and lovely. And look to December 31st and February the 5th, because those are the next two times that Mercury sextiles Neptune because of the retrograde motion on the 31st, happy New Year's Eve, and then going direct February 5th. So you've got more of that story playing out. I mean, if you're a storyteller or a filmmaker, or you use video like I do for YouTube and stuff, I mean, this is very good. You could have some really good upswing in the storytelling, videography, filmmaking part of your life. Okay, that's true. And then lastly, we're getting to the end of the month, and that's going to be on the 28th and 29th. There's going to be a conjunction between the messenger of the gods, Mercury and Venus. This is an energy that is the fusing of the two of them, happens every year. And this is good for money. And this is good for romance. This is good for emails and phone calls and messages to do with romance, with, in your case, faraway lands or people in far off shores. This could also be really good time to write something creative, especially if it's going to be deeply channeled or inspired by that Neptune contact in the second house of the voice. And then Venus is also sextiling that Neptune, just like Mercury did back on the 24th, 26th, and Venus moves into that sextile on the 28th, 29th. So again, Venus, Neptune, if it's romantic, it's dreamy, romantic, powerfully, seductive, divine complement love story. So any single Aquarians could fall into that. Again, could be connected to foreign shores and lands because of the 12th house or ashrams or spiritual sanctuaries. December 31st is hot, man. It's a Happy New Year, Venus Pluto conjunction. This is like going deep intimacy, deep reveals, obsessive even, but going really under the surface regarding love and money stories on the 31st of the month. And certainly you could go deep into almost a deep overindulgence, like a Dionysian revelry on the New Year's Eve. So be careful for that if that's not your cup of tea. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget, if you check my description box, there's so much stuff you can find there. My Divine Timing Masterclass is starting. Why don't you jump in? I'm sure you'll love it in February for advanced beginner to intermediate astrologers wishing to learn ancient divine timing tools in astrology. Some of them I'm sure you haven't learned before. And if you want to sign up for my newsletter, Cosmic Moonshine, It comes out every Saturday with forecast material just for you that nobody else gets. And you get a discount code for a reading with me. And you also get a bunch of freebies and prizes and contests that no one else gets. So if you want to jump in to my newsletter, I have about 1,670 people signed up already. I've been building this for the last 3 years. So come join the smaller community here or on Patreon, where you get all of my videos ad-free and advanced before people on YouTube get it. Ciao, ciao.